Assalamu alaikum. Hi everyone. Today I have a request from my dear friend Zakiya. She wanted me to make and share the recipe of nihari. Now, nihari is like a meat stew, meat pieces, either lamb or beef, and they're in like a thick sauce. A slight aniseedy type flavor, as I remember, and it's like quite a filling dish. So anyway, lots of people use the packet mixes to make nihari these days, obviously because of the convenience and because it's easy. They don't have to fuss with buying the whole spices, then blending them and measuring them out, etc. So I don't want to do that. I hate using packet mixes. I don't encourage anyone to use packet mixes. So I did a bit of research. I spoke to a few friends. I spoke to a few people who do a lot of authentic cooking, and sort of adjusted the flavors and the spices for myself because I don't really like very strong flavors. I've got my spices here: 1 tablespoon each of cumin seeds, crushed coriander seeds, fennel seeds, that is also known as saunf, 1 star anise, 1 piece of dried ginger, also called sund, 3 or 4 green cardamoms, some mace, 4 cloves, some cinnamon sticks, 2 or 3 bay leaves, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 black cardamom, and later I'll be adding nutmeg powder, turmeric powder, chili powder and salt. Here is the nutmeg powder that I'll be using later. If you have whole nutmeg, you can crack it into 2 or 3 pieces and add it to the cooking pot. Going to toast the whole spices now before grinding them. So I'll be using low to medium heat just until they start smoking. These are nicely toasted now, and the bigger pieces like the bay leaf, I'm just tearing them up with my hands. And this piece of dried ginger, I don't think it will be good to let that in the grinder. I just feel it might damage the blade. And the star anise there, I'm just breaking that up, and I'll do the rest of the spices in the grinder. You can also grind them by hand in the pestle and mortar. As for the ginger pieces, the dried ginger here, I'm just crushing it by hand. And what I noticed is as I'm crushing it, the powder separates from the fibers in there. You know, like sometimes ginger, when you're cutting it, it has fibers in there and they're quite hard to cut. Well, it's the same for this dried ginger piece here. The powder separated really nicely away from the like a stringy bits in there, which were easily picked out. Now I'll just crush the fresh ginger and garlic as well. Onto my meat and onions here. I've got 2 onions that I've sliced finely there, and this is 1 kilo of lamb leg, the bottom part of the lamb leg with the bones. Going to fry the onions now on a medium-high heat till they turn golden, and then I'll reduce the heat down to low and let them all turn like a nice caramel colour, not to burn them though. Now, traditionally, these onions, along with the oil, are added to the dish nearer to the end, like a tempering kind of. But I feel that's way too much oil to be eating. So what I'm going to do here today is, once the onions are fried and a nice golden color, I'm going to remove them, and only will be using about 3 tablespoons of that oil that into the meat. So now that I've removed the onions and most of the oil in there, I'm just frying the meat lightly just to give it some colour before it goes into the pressure cooker. Just adding the fresh garlic and ginger here and letting it cook with the meat for a while before adding in the spices. After letting the garlic and ginger cook for a minute or so, I'll add the spice mixture. Here I'm just adding the rest of the powder spices, chili powder, turmeric powder and nutmeg powder, and some salt as well. To this now I'm going to add around 2 liters of boiling water and let it pressure cook for around 20 minutes. Whilst that's cooking, I'm going to make the sauce to thicken the gravy. So I've got 1 cup of atta, which is 1 cup of whole wheat flour, and I've added 1 cup of water to that. Just whisking it, removing all the lumps, making it really smooth, like sauce consistency. After 20 minutes, my meat looks very nicely cooked. I'm just going to mix it there. All the flavors have come out of the bones and the meat and the spices there. Just giving it a quick mix, and I'll show you here how well it's cooked and has become really soft. Time to add the flour mixture now, so slowly pouring and mixing at the same time, and I've used all of that. The gravy turns into a silky and a slightly thicker consistency than it was before. It looks good to me. Now here I'll add in the fried onions, but without the oil that they were in. If you want to, you can add in the oil along with the onions as well. I'm sure it'll give it a more desi type of touch. Garnishing for my nihari, some lemon there, coriander, green chilli and julienne cut ginger. Do try the recipe. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to my friend Zakiya, because of whom I have learned how to make nihari as well.